It rippled through the Galactic Assembly hall in quiet clicks, harmonic trills, low-frequency hums, alien expressions of amusement that blended into a single sound of shared contempt. Hundreds of species sat in tiered rows of living stone and light, watching one lone figure stand at the center of the chamber. She did not look weak. She looked alone. Her name was Tal'Yaree of the Calathi, and she stood with her shoulders straight despite the weight of every gaze fixed upon her. Her species was slight compared to most, tall by human standards, but fragile beside the armored titans and bioengineered giants that dominated interstellar politics. She clutched a data slate to her chest, hands trembling just enough to be noticed. And no one came to her defense. No one except me. I hadn't planned to be there. I was just a human observer, assigned to the Assembly as part of Earth's ongoing effort to prove that we belonged among the stars. Humanity was still considered young, impulsive, and dangerously emotional by most established civilizations. We were tolerated. Barely. My role was to listen, report, and not interfere. That last part became difficult when the Calathi petition began. Tal'Yaree stepped forward and activated the central holoprojector. A rotating image of her homeworld appeared, once lush, now scarred with spreading void zones where the planet's core had destabilized. "Our world is dying," she said, her voice steady despite the tension. "We request aid, technology, expertise, anything that may slow the collapse." The chamber remained silent for a heartbeat. Then the ridicule began. "They come begging again," hissed a delegate from the Vorik Combine. "Didn't they waste the last aid package?" Another voice chimed in. "Primitive governance," clicked a crystalline being. "Predictable failure." Each remark struck like a physical blow. Tal'Yaree did not interrupt. She did not argue. She waited until the murmurs died down. "We did make mistakes," she said quietly. "We admit this. That is why we ask for guidance, as well as assistance." That was when the laughter returned, stronger this time. A towering Korthan envoy leaned forward, his mandibles flexing. "You expect the Assembly to waste resources on a species that cannot manage its own survival?" "I expect," Tal'Yaree replied, "that advanced civilizations remember they were once vulnerable too." That earned her nothing but scorn. I glanced around the hall. No one moved to support her. Not the trade coalitions. Not the so-called peacekeeping alliances. Even species that prided themselves on moral philosophy looked away. Helping the Calathi was considered inefficient, risky, and profitable. I felt something tighten in my chest. Humanity had been there once. We had stood on the edge of ecological collapse, political fragmentation, self-inflicted disaster. We survived not because we were smarter or stronger, but because, eventually, someone always reached back. I remembered stories of nations helping rivals after wars, of scientists sharing breakthroughs freely, of ordinary people standing up when systems failed. I remembered what it felt like to be dismissed. Tal'Yaree's voice faltered for the first time. "If there is no aid," she said, "then we ask only for time, to evacuate our population before the core destabilizes completely." The chamber grew quiet again. A counselor spoke coldly. "Evacuation rights require sponsorship. No sponsor has stepped forward." I looked down at the insignia on my sleeve. Earth. Humanity. Newcomer. Observer only. My orders echoed in my mind. I stood up anyway. The sound of my chair sliding back echoed far louder than it should have. Every head turned. Humans didn't interrupt assembly proceedings. We didn't draw attention. We didn't contradict elder species. I walked down the steps toward the center of the chamber, my pulse hammering in my ears. Tal'Yaree noticed me then, surprise flashing across her features. I stopped beside her. Then, before anyone could speak, I reached out and took her hand. The reaction was immediate. Gasps. Shocked clicks. A low warning rumble from the Corthan delegation. "What is the meaning of this?" demanded the presiding arbiter. "My name is Aaron Cole," I said, voice steady despite everything. "I am a representative of humanity." Talaire's hand was warm, trembling now, but she did not pull away. "Earth will sponsor the Calathi evacuation," I continued, "and we will provide technical assistance to stabilize their core if possible." The chamber erupted. "You do not have the authority," someone shouted. "Humanity lacks the resources," another protested. The arbiter raised a limb for silence. "You are a minor power," it said. "This pledge could cripple your species' growth." I nodded. "We're aware." "Why?" it demanded. "What do you gain?" I looked at Talaire, then back at the assembly. "Perspective," I said. "And the chance to be the kind of species we wish someone had been for us." The middle of the story didn't happen in speeches. It happened in consequences. The assembly adjourned in chaos. Some delegates accused humanity of reckless altruism. Others quietly revised their assessments of us. The Calathi evacuation began within weeks. Human ships, old by galactic standards but reliable, arrived in Calathi space. Engineers worked alongside Calathi scientists day and night, sharing data freely. Not all efforts succeeded. Some cities were lost, but millions survived. Talaire worked tirelessly, coordinating efforts, refusing rest until others were safe. I watched her change during those months, shoulders straighter, voice stronger, confidence earned through action rather than permission. One night, standing on the observation deck of a refugee transport, she spoke quietly. "Why did you really help us?" she asked. I considered the question. "Because everyone deserves someone to stand beside them when they're being laughed at," I said. She nodded slowly. "Among my people, physical contact is a bond of trust." "I guessed as much," I replied. "You guessed and did it anyway," she said. "That took courage." I shrugged. "Or stubbornness." She smiled faintly. The turning point came months later, when new data revealed something unexpected.